Ryan with Cajun Cardboard coming at you from the great state of Louisiana. I am excited to bring you today my top 10 NBA prospects at the point guard position under age 25. A couple of caveats. I want to make sure we're all on the same page. This is just my personal opinion. This is not going to be card related, so we're not taking into account grade, card, product, pop, nothing like that. This is not basketball card related. This is just my 10 best guesses as to who will end up being the best point guards that are under age 25 right now. So a lot of this is based on potential and total upside, right? And so we're not necessarily comparing what they've done in the NBA or what their stats were last year or anything like that. The criteria are they've got to be a point guard. They've got to play the point guard position. So we're going to eliminate a couple people because they're shooting guards or combo guards. They've got to be under age 25 right now. As of today is July 17th. So they might start this next NBA season at age 25. So don't get caught up on that. I'm looking at what their age is right now. So a couple of 25-year-olds will be disqualified, and we'll look at them in a second. And they've got to have upside, right? And so you're going to have some guys in here who haven't quite accomplished the same thing as some people that I've left off the list. But again, this is based on what I think they can achieve if all their ducks, come in a row and everything comes to fruition and they progress at the rate that I think they're going to progress based on the team they're on now. But most of this is long-term, just based on the type of player that I think they can become, irrespective of who their current teammates are or their likelihood of winning, like, immediately, right? Some of these guys are going to be in great positions to win as early as next year. Some of these guys are going to be Sacramento, in Siberia, Houston, Detroit for a long time, where they're not going to have any title window for a very long time. But some of these guys are right there on the cusp, and so I'm kind of throwing a little bit of that out the window as well. So this is just based on type of player I think they can become. Stay tuned till the very end. Number one's not going to be a surprise, but I think the order that I have these 10 in might be a surprise. So let me switch you guys over and let's get cranking. So here we are. We got my top 10 NBA point guards prospects under the age of 25. And here's the guys that have just missed out, okay? So I've got them pulled up. Jamal Murray, a little bit too old. DeJounte Murray, a little bit too old. They both would have been right there on this list, quite likely. Jamal coming off a bad injury. DeJounte Murray coming off a very strange trade where he might not have made the list anyway because now he's sort of a combo guard and playing that two position. Although I think he'll be the primary point guard. I know that's going to sound crazy since Trae Young averages so many assists, but I think DeJounte Murray is going to get the higher usage rate at that point guard position, and they're going to kind of use Trae Young and that Steph Curry off the ball, running off screens, run around like a maniac, kind of using his conditioning and his ability to catch and shoot the ball and create for others, kind of off the ball a little bit more. So it'll be an interesting experiment to see what happens in Atlanta. I still don't think they answered the problem of not really having an inside post player, but we'll see how it goes. They're going to be an interesting team to watch, and the East just got really, really nasty with this DeJounte Murray trade and the Brogdon trade and a couple other moves that were made in the upper tier of the Eastern Conference. Jalen Brunson, again, just signed a monster contract in New York. He also just missed out because he's 25 years old. Lonzo just missed out because he's not quite good enough. Tyrese Halliburton, I'm going to call him a point guard. I think he's going to play point guard, although I think as his career progresses, he'll probably sort of transition into that two-guard position. He did not make my top 10 list regardless. It was not easy, and if you do want to consider him a point guard, he would have been very close on this list, and a lot of you may disagree and believe that he belongs on this list. RJ Barrett, same thing. He is playing the point guard position. I'm not really sure he's a true point guard long term, but even if he was, he would not make my list either. Jordan Poole, I'm treating him as a shooting guard, combo guard, so he's not eligible. Anthony Simons would have made my top 10 list based on potential, and I am very biased, and you guys know that. But I am considering him a shooting guard or a combo guard as well, since Lillard's coming back and he signed a $18 trillion deal. So it looks like Simons and Lillard are going to play together for a long time. Lillard's only going to play that one position. Simon's going to be that combo shooting guard type, just because he's a little bit longer, can do more things off the wing. Colin Sexton did not make my list. He was eligible. He's probably more in the mold of a shooting guard, but I think he's probably truly a point guard by most people's standards, but he's not making my list, and I'm not even sure where he's going to end up playing. And then Josh Giddey was real close, but he didn't quite make my 10. You could make an argument that he belongs in my 10, and I wouldn't hate you for it, but he did not make my 10. even though he had an incredible rookie season, and he's on a really fun team to watch, one of my top league pass teams to watch, just because they have so many fascinating prospects at all positions. And he had a fantastic summer league, and then finally they shut him down because he was just a man amongst boys in summer league. And then 3 more guards that did not make it just because they weren't good enough: Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, and Emmanuel Quickly. So those are the guys that just missed out. Let's keep rolling. Okay, number 10 on my list is SGA, Shea GilAlexander. Again, I don't have any rhyme or reason. You'll see I've put some of the rookie cards up here. I just kind of pulled some cards off to make the slideshow look more interesting, but you can see his Silver Prism rookie card on here. Again, we're not talking about particular cards. We're talking about the players themselves. Shea GilAlexander with the Oklahoma City Thunder is 24 years old, so he just made it under the cut. He was drafted in 2018. He's 6'6", 180. Has had issues shooting the three-pointer. His three-point percentage, 36%, 34%, and then he bumped it up to 41%, which was incredibly encouraging on almost 5 attempts per game. And then last year, something happened. He shot 30% from three-point range. He only shot 45% from the field generally. His effective field goal percentage dropped below 50%. Which was nuts because he had taken a huge step forward shooting the ball in 2020. But last year he did average 24.5 points. A real good defensive player, super long, great wingspan, over 1.3 steals per game. He's 24, 4, and 5. Those are his numbers. So Shea GilAlexander is kind of solid in that 10 position for me. He just edges out Giddey on this list. And number 9 on my list, let's keep moving, is Tyrese Maxey. He is with the Philadelphia 76ers. He was drafted in the year 2020 in that 2020 NBA draft. He's 21 years old. He is 6'2", 200 pounds. I got to believe he weighs more than 200 pounds. He is an absolute tank, especially in the lower body. Big hips, big butt, big strong legs. Just an absolute man-child. Despite the fact that he doesn't have like prototypical point guard size like a Shea GilAlexander or 6'5", 6'6", Cade Cunningham, something like that, he is built like a tank and uses his body extremely well. He had a 16.2 PER last year, which is really impressive. And that was not quite as good as Shea GilAlexander, and part of that was probably because of Shea GilAlexander's defensive acumen. But last year, Tyrese Maxey took a massive step forward. He went from averaging 8 points per game his rookie year to being the man and part of a big three in Philadelphia. He averaged 17.5 points, 3 rebounds, and 4.3 assists. He's shooting the 3 ball significantly better than his rookie season and way better than anybody thought he would. Like, the big knock on him coming out of the University of Kentucky was, will he develop into a proficient 3-point shooter? Well, he shut everybody up last year. He shot 42.7% from the 3-point line, 48% overall from the field, and his effective field goal percentage was over 55% and 86.6% from the free throw line. Tyrese Maxey has great things ahead of him. He's in a great win-now situation. That team is looking to do some things. It's going to be interesting to see how he and Embiid and Harden and those guys gel together, and if they can put a nice group around them to make a run in the East. The East is loaded. I mean, you got issues with the Bucks, the Celtics. I mean, I'm not even going to list it out. You guys know there's so many teams in the East that can come out of there next year, just like there was this year. The Celtics didn't exactly get any worse by picking up an absolute superstar in Malcolm Brogdon either. So number 8 on my list is one of my favorites. I am very biased here. Anytime I'm biased, I'm going to tell you I've got a bazillion Darren Fox cards. You're looking at his optic hollow card pictured here, which I do have a couple of as well. But he's with the Sacramento Kings. I know you probably never heard of them. They are an NBA team, and they go back and forth from G League to the NBA. They're hoping to be part of the real NBA one day and actually mean something and matter and make a playoffs. But Sabonis coming over helps. Drafting Keegan Murray helps. Both of those things are going to really free up Darren Fox to become the point guard, the distributor that he can be. He is 24 years old, so we made it just under the cut of 25. He's a 2017 draftee. He was actually born in New Orleans, Louisiana. Yes, that's right, the great state of Louisiana. But he went to University of Kentucky just like Tyrese Maxey, just like Shea GilAlexander for that matter. So let that sink in of how many stud point guards John Calipari has put together and recruited to the University of Kentucky. He's 6'3", 185, so he's exactly my height and weight, which is, again, makes me even more biased. But Darren Fox has long been one of my favorites. He took a little bit of a step back, I think, last year. He averaged 25.2 in 2020, and I think he should have made the All-Star team, but they gave that spot, that injury, that spot that opened, they gave it to C.J. McCollum. I thought Darren Fox deserved it, even though his team sucked. He averaged 25.2 in 2020. He did take a little step back, averaged 23.2 last year, but about 4 rebounds and about 5.6 assists. So his assist numbers were down. His scoring was a little down. His effective field goal percentage was down. And he really took a nosedive and shot under 30% from three-point range. He has got to address that. He has got to be a 35% three-point shooter, 34, 35, 36% three-point shooter, because he is absolutely lightning quick with the ball. He's shifty. He is a left-handed player. He really can get to the rim whenever he wants, if he can get defenders to close out all the way to him. But right now, he does not have that respect as far as his three-point shooting ability, so he's not getting to the rim as proficiently as he should. If he can get there, he's a 26, 27 points per game type score-first point guard, in my opinion. But right now, guys are gapping him, and they're giving him space, and they're daring him to shoot the three ball, and right now he just can't do it. So effective field goal percentage over 50%, but just barely, and again, a step back from last year. But Darren Fox, I still believe, has upside because he is a super elite NBA defender, in my opinion. And Darren Fox is number 8 player on my list. Let's keep this cranking and go to number 7. Number 7 on my list, and this is where I'm going to get some heat. And I can't express to you how biased I am when it comes to this, because this is one of my uber prospects, one of my super prospects, and I'm higher on him than most people in the world. It's none other than Kevin Porter Jr. I've got actually one of my cards on this slide right here. This is his flawless rookie card, 2-color patch right there. The patch doesn't match the Cavs uniform that's shown on the card, but nevertheless, good-looking card. Kevin Porter Jr. is obviously with the Houston Rockets, another really must-see league pass team. He was born in Seattle, Washington, born and raised, so he's following in a great long line of great Seattle, Washington point guards that have come out of there. Well, we thought Markelle Fultz was going to be in that long line as well, but we think of Jamal Crawford and some other elite ball handlers that have come out of the Seattle, Washington area, Brandon Roy, etc. But Kevin Porter still a very young age of 22. He was drafted in the year 2019. Not the most efficient player yet. And again, remember, this list is based on what I perceive to be their highest upside. He's 6'4", 203, great body, Tyrese Maxey type body, a little bit longer than Tyrese, so a little bit more defensive potential, even though he doesn't have a willingness to really play defense yet. He's in his 3rd year in the league, and last year he averaged almost 16 points per game, 4.4 rebounds, and 6.2 assists for an absolutely miserably dreadful Houston Rockets team that featured the black hole Christian Wood in the middle, who never met a shot he didn't like. Despite the fact that KPJ shot a terrible 41% from the field, he shot a respectable 37.5% from the three-point line. So that's what gives me a little bit of hope here. He shot over 50% effective field goal percentage. His free throw shooting was absolutely dreadful. It's got to be fixed. He shot 73.4% in 2020, but dropped all the way to 64% last year. So I got to believe that's just a lack of reps, a lack of attention to detail. He did average over a steal a game. And again, not the most efficient dude out there, but when I say this guy's a scoring machine, and he's got the potential to be a 26, 27, 28 points per game scorer, especially in a backcourt with Jalen Green, where people are not going to be able to, people are going to, Kevin Porter's going to be an afterthought compared to Jalen Green, Jabari Smith, Şengün. I mean, they got a nice little core going there, and then they got their, they've got their role players who know their role, and Josh Christopher's another nice young point guard who didn't make our list, but I really like Josh Christopher. He's just kind of trapped down there with a bunch of other elite guards around him. So KPJ is number 7 on my list. Number 6 is Cade Cunningham. Absolute man-child, a monster. Started off really, really slow last year, or he probably would have won Rookie of the Year himself. Cade Cunningham's only 20 years old, was just drafted last year in the 2021 draft, so he's only had one NBA season. His PER was about the same as Kevin Porter Jr. Kevin Porter Jr., like I said, he came out of the gates extremely slow and then really picked it up towards the end of the year and started putting up some big-time box scores, stuff in the stat sheets. He is 6'6", 220. So not quite Doncic size, but probably the second biggest point guard on my top 10 list. He played at Montverde. He's from Texas. He went to Oklahoma State and was just an absolute one-hit wonder there for 1 year. He was a 2021 All-Rookie Team player. And like I said, along with Mobley and Giddey, and Scotty Barnes, he was fighting for that Rookie of the Year award that could have gone any direction. They ended up, giving it to Scotty Barnes, but Cade Cunningham was a fantastic player. If they gauged it just on the second half of the season, I think Cade Cunningham would have won it. So Cade Cunningham last year was 17 points per game, over 5 rebounds, over 5 assists. So 17, 5, and 5 as a rookie, especially getting off to a horribly slow start. Had a little bit of injury issues, missed 18 games last year. Only shot 41% from the field. Did not shoot it well from three-point range. But like I said, that got better as the season progressed. His effective field goal percentage was terrible. It was worse than Kevin Porter Jr., who's got a knock as being not a great shooter. But his three-point shooting and effective shooting was actually worse than Kevin Porter Jr. I suspect all of those things will go up because there's one thing that I've learned about NBA point guards. Their shooting percentages go up as the game slows down for them and they start to master that position. Just really hard position to transition into in the NBA. Very few people come in and just click from the jump. Ja Morant, Trae Young, Luka Doncic, are only a few of the people that have been able to make that transition straight from 1 year of college. And again, Doncic had a little bit of an advantage playing numerous years in the professional ranks. But Cade Cunningham has tremendous upside with obviously that size. It just, he's got a great feel for the game. Great mid-range. He's fantastic. Had a good rookie season. I expect him to take a massive leap forward, even though it's a weird fit with him and Jaden Ivey in the same backcourt because I think they're both point guards. Number 5 on the list is Darius Garland. Again, super biased here, so I'll be transparent as I can be. Darius Garland signed a monster contract, the biggest contract that you could sign. He made the All-Star team last year. His PER was a whopping 19.0. Just fantastic, super efficient player. Became the alpha on that Cleveland Cavaliers team. He was the straw that stirred the drink for that Cavaliers team that started 3 7-footers. He made the entire city of Cleveland and all of their management completely forget about Sexton and made him expendable to the point where they're trying to figure out a place for that kid to play. But Darius Garland, 21.7 points per game. 3.3 rebounds. He's not a big dude. He's only 6'1", 192, but 8.6 assists in his third year in the NBA is a huge step forward. 1.3 steals shows that he's got the ability to steal the ball off the ball. Not a great on-ball defender because of his size and his lack of verticality, but very good, intelligent off the ball. Just has an awesome feel for the game. 53.6 effective field goal percentage. Jumped his three-point shooting. He shot 39.5% last year. The year before, 38% last year on 6.7 attempts. So he's really putting the ball up. 46% field goal percentage, and like I said, 53.6 effective field goal percentage. Really efficient guy with a 19.0 PER and 6.3 win shares. So he was the reason for the huge turnaround, along with Evan Mobley, obviously, and Lauri Markkanen sort of rejuvenating his career. But he's moving the ball around and running a team with 3 7-footers, which is pretty unique in this day and age. Number 4 on the list is LaMelo Ball. Upside galore, super flashy, super fantastic, super collectible, checks tons of boxes, super engaging, great with the media, great with teammates. Sounds like he's a little bit harder worker than we thought he was going to be. Certainly, he's a significantly better shooter than any of us expected to be at this early age. He was the 2020 Rookie of the Year. He made an All-Star team last year. And like I said, he is 6'7", 180, so plenty of time to fill out. If he gets to 6'7", 6'8", 215, good Lord, look out league, because he can already move the ball and pass the ball like very few players in the NBA. In just his second year, he hit the 20 points per game mark. He stole the ball 1.6 times because he's sort of one of those lazy risk-taking defenders, but got the ability to be a really good lockdown defender if he buys in and kind of develops that portion of his game on the defensive end. Really got the ability to be an elite defensive player, especially if he tacks on about 20 more pounds over the course of the next 2 or 3 years. But 20.1 points per game, 6.7 rebounds per game with that size, and 7.6 assists per game. Just huge numbers, 27 and 7 basically. 51% effective field goal percentage, and this is where he shocked everybody. He jumped his three-point shooting on a whopping 7.5 attempts per game, which is a huge-ass number, to 38.9%. So just under 40% three-point shooting, and that is really impressive. And like I said, he made his first All-Star team, and it certainly won't be his last. And so he's my number 4 prospect at the point guard position under the age of 25 in the NBA. Number 3 is Trae Young, and this is where there might be some controversy. I guess some people could argue about LaMelo and Cade and whatnot, and maybe Trae Young should be on the number 2 spot, but I've got Trae Young at the number 3 spot. I've got his gold prism card on the screen, but again, we're not talking about cards. We're just talking about these guys as players, as prospects, based on their ultimate upside. Trae Young's already made 2 All-Star teams. He had an insane 25.4 PER and 10.0 win shares last year, despite the fact that the Hawks kind of took a little step backwards. Trae Young averaged 28.4 points, 3.7 rebounds, and 9.7 assists. So he is pushing the league lead in assists already in his 4th year. It's undetermined what his role is going to be. I mean, obviously it's going to be to get crazy buckets. I would expect him to push 30 points per game with DeJounte Murray in town, but it's uncertain how exactly they're going to play those 2 guys together. There's a couple of different ways they can approach this thing. Like I said, my guess is they're going to use him more in a Steph Curry role, where he's, doing, maybe brings the ball up the court, but shifts the ball, doesn't have to do quite as much, doesn't have to take on quite as much usage, quite as much of the load in the pick and roll game, with John Collins and those bigs and whatnot. So DeJounte Murray is going to take a huge amount of pressure off of him defensively and cover up a lot of gaps, and that is where Trae Young kind of takes a huge step backwards compared to some of these other guys. He can't guard anybody and can't and won't. But I guess he'll progress and get a little bit better at that as well. But last year, he jumped his effective field goal percentage over 50% to all the way up to 53.6%. And shot 38% from three-point range, which was a really good sign. 38% on 8 attempts per game is no joke. That is a lot of buckets. That is a lot of threes. And that's kind of what you need Darren Fox to take. That's the step. Darren Fox and Kevin Porter and Shea GilAlexander, they need to jump into that 35, 36, 37, 38% from three-point range, because you guys don't understand how much that changes the game. That allows you to get into the paint. That allows you to get all the way to the rim. That allows you to get, shoulder to shoulder, hip to hip with your defender and create that help side. Call that help side defender over from the short corner, which opens up that corner 3. And so when you've got the ability to shoot the 3 ball at 38, 39, 40%, it really just opens up the entire floor for not only the player at the point guard position, but also the entire team. And that's when you see point numbers and assist numbers and free throws taken just go up just significantly. And Trae Young finally unlocked that last year, shooting a whopping 38% from 3 on 8 attempts. So a little guy here. Also, we got a little guy at number 2, a little munchkin. He's really probably not 6'3", 174, but that's what they list him at. I'd be surprised. John Morant, Memphis Grizzlies. He's 22 years old, out of Murray State in the great state of Kentucky. Was a 2019 drafted player. Nicknames, G12. That's interesting. I've never heard that nickname, but that's one of his nicknames. But John Morant, what can we say? He had a 24.4 PER. He can jump out of the gym. He checks every box. He's like the Iverson. He's like a mix of Iverson and Vince Carter to me. Like, you never know. He might do something you've never seen before. But he's got the ability to score the ball in crazy bunches, just like Iverson. Took a nice little step forward last year with his three-point shooting to 34%. Only takes 4.5 per game. He's going to have to work on that, and that's something that comes. And remember, he's only 22 years old. He made his first All-Star team. He averaged a crazy 27.4 from the field, but he averaged 5.7 rebounds, a lot for a little guy, and then 6.7 assists. He's starting to understand how to get his teammates involved and truly master the point guard position. His effective field goal percentage jumped from 48.7 his second year to 53%. Last year, and averaging 27.4 points per game. He was the 2019 Rookie of the Year, and like I said, he made his first All-Star team last year, and he made an All-NBA team in the 21-22 season. He was the 21-22 most improved player as well, and an all-rookie team selection, in addition to being, obviously, the Rookie of the Year. And then, again, this is no surprise. We're not going to take too long here. Number 1 is unquestionably Luka the Don, the Golden Boy, Luka Doncic. the Matador, Cool Hand Luka, Wonder Boy, Luka Legend, whatever you want to call him, Luka Magic. He's 23 years old still. That is crazy. He's been playing pro ball for like 21 of those 23 years. He was playing over in Real Madrid. He was European Player of the Year. He was drafted in 2018, that loaded 2018 draft class. He is 6'7", 230. Let that sink in. 6'7", 230 pounds, playing the point guard position. He carries people like backpacks to the rim. He's got an incredible mid-range game, exceptional upper tier footwork in the mid-range as far as pivots, pump fakes, just he sees the floor like, probably one of the top 5-6 players in the NBA. He just checks every box, man. He just reminds me of like a James Harden, LeBron type, those gigantic people. Again, he can't jump like LeBron, right? But he reminds me of a Harden, LeBron, where they've got the ball so doggone much, and they're so big, you just can't get them. You can't bother them because they can always turn their back to you. He can post up tiny people. He can get by giant people. And if you're, his size, he's going to get you in foul trouble. He's going to get you in that mid-range. He's going to get his butt on you and his shoulders on you and just move you because he's just country strong. He's a 3-time All-Star already. He's a 3-time All-NBA already. He was the 2018 Rookie of the Year. He had a 25.1 PER last year, and he shot 35% from the three-point line for the second year in a row. Again, not the greatest shooter, right? But we think he's got that potential to push that 40% mark. And if he does, look out world, because he averaged 28 points per game last year and could get wherever he wanted on the court. And he was only shooting 35% from three. So he was 28.4, 9.1 rebounds, and 8.7 assists. He's super sharp. He's really improved his defense, to be quite honest with you, which was very impressive. He bumped his free throw shooting up to 74.4. That's too low for an exceptional shooter, which I think he can be. But he did shoot 52.9% as an effective field goal percentage. And like we said, his PER is just a whopping 25.1. That's just a bananas number. So Luka Doncic is number 1 on my list. Let me know what you guys think about my list. Comment with your thoughts below. Let me know who you would have taken. Is there anybody I left off completely? Is there anybody from my, my list of guys that are just on the outside looking in that you would have put into your list? Take a look at my list and go through it again and let me know what you think. Remember, this is based just on overall maximum potential. A lot of those guys on the outside looking in list were obviously fantastic options to make this top 10 list. This is just my personal top 10 list. I just wanted to give you guys something to listen to and to look at while you're doing your cardio or you're taking a walk with your wife or you're, getting ready for work in the morning or on your commute to work in the morning. But hopefully you guys like this list, and I'll put out some more of these. I'll certainly do my top 25 big men prospect under 25 as well. That won't be quite as sexy or exciting, but I'm going to do it for you guys. And so hopefully you like the video. Keep collecting. Stay positive in the hobby. And peace.